Welcome back. If you are just joining, you are watching Daily Politics on Trust TV. Do well to follow us across all our social platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and watch us live on YouTube. Still having the studio, Professor Usman Yusuf. He's a professor of hematology, oncology, and bone marrow transplantation. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you for having me.
In your article, of course, you mention many measures that did not work over the last 8 years. And I'm beginning to be scared if what we've started seeing now is anything to go by. For instance, the new chief of army staff said that amnesty is not the option, right? So I want you to put this together. Previously, this issue of amnesty, you mentioned it. Even the former chief of defense staff, I think, to some extent, going by the role you played in the committee he put together that rescued the Kaduna train passengers. Now, can you shed more light on why some of those initiatives failed to work in the last 8 years? And a word of caution for those that are in power now.
Right. And this government has a lot of experience to learn from the past 8 years.
Okay.
This is what real government will do. Look at what worked, what didn't work.
Yes.
And there are catalogs of things that did not work.
Mention them.
First of all, let's look at this failed Naira redesign.
It did not work.
They said, well, one of the things is to prevent banditry.
But hasn't it?
It hasn't. Some of the bandits were asking for USD.
Meaning they have
dollars.
A way of collecting the...
Of course, anyway, so it didn't work, right? And we talked about border closure. It closed the border for how many months? It did not stem. One of the reasons they said it to stem the inflow of arms. It hasn't done that.
Thank God, President Tinubu says that he's going to open the borders, and he shelved the Naira redesign.
Right.
I think maybe till December.
So all these things, all these things do not need just, oh, let's do this because it didn't work. You need to find out why it did not work.
Even though they were meant to be positive.
Yeah.
Maybe like the
whatever. So there was a catalog of things, and you have in some places where the military goes and kill people, and it didn't work. All that does.
I once asked you this question here. Former Governor El-Rufai said that the way out is to shell the bushes. And he's very strong, or likely to be very strong in this government. Mm-hmm. Will you advise Tinubu to go that way? Or you are saying Tinubu should consider this issue of amnesty?
So please don't bring that bad. It's a nightmare of a governor saying go and burn and kill every living person there. And you are a governor, extrajudicial. You go and bomb the forest and kill every living thing there, from the ants to the innocent people.
It is believed in their estimation that most of those living there are either the bandits or collaborators.
And that's not true.
Okay.
That is false.
Is it you discovered this because you visited the places?
Look, I have been to places where that governor has not visited. We have engaged people where that governor has not engaged. So we are not, I don't want to talk about personalities. We are talking the policies that did not work, and policies that will never work, and policies that we will oppose. Extrajudicial killing, by whatever name it comes, is not going to be acceptable. No. Collective punishment is not going to be acceptable. Profiling by any measure is not going to be acceptable. I have said it again and again and again, banditry is a social problem, it's not a military problem. There's a definite role for the military, but there's not going to be a military solution to banditry, because conflicts like this, in the history of warfare, they've never been won on the battlefield. The role of the military is to provide an enabling environment for dialogue to happen. Dialogue is a legitimate form of warfare. Sit down and talk with people, and we saw that. We spent 6 months of our life dialoguing with Boko Haram bandits to get everybody out. In the state, in Kaduna State, we got everybody out. Then the military go and do whatever you're trained to do. So dialogue is legitimate.
You said Boko Haram bandit, and I know it's not by mistake.
No,
you say Boko Haram bandit.
no,
what is the nexus? Tell us about the
good,
alliance.
Good. You see, all the times we were going into this forest, Shagumi will tell me, Usman, we need to get to these bandits before Boko Haram gets to them and poison them with their toxic.
But it appears they have gotten there now.
So we are where we are. I mean, the March 28th train hijack was not by bandits. It was by Boko Haram. And clearly they made inroads.
But the bandits, I mean, shot the way.
No, so you can, this is their territory, of course. They is their territory. The terrain, Boko Haram are just city folks in the forest. But bandits, the forest is their domain. That's where they live. We don't want this to happen. That's why we've been trying to pry them out. They are Boko Haram, from the heat that the military is giving them in the northeast, they've migrated to the northwest and the north central. Bindungwari, Regina, you have Niger, and you have places in Zamfara and so eastern Sokoto, everywhere. They are there. So it is dangerous, a lethal combination that we have been warning about all this time, and the government, political leadership from the state to the federal government need to listen and involve everybody, especially traditional rulers, elders, clerics, and everybody. Banditry is not a social problem, cannot be solved by soldiers alone. Soldiers are an important, integral part of this. And we saw that. Without the military, we could not have gone anywhere we went to over the 6 months.